well. We want it to be two-way. I want you guys to learn. We want to learn from you. And so we're going to have lots of question and answers, lots of opportunities for you guys to speak. So please think of some great questions, and we'll try to break the day up, make it a little bit less formal than it would be otherwise. It means a lot to us that you're all willing to take the time and effort to join us here. And I think that's most of that. A lot of you guys have been through pretty busy days, as I mentioned earlier, at arrival, so today we're going to try to make it a little bit less formal. Vita's asked me to especially point out, try to keep it casual. We're not an event company, we're a online tours and activities OTA and the world's biggest travel website, so we'll do our best. Just in case you don't know me, I've worked in this business for about 12 years now. I work for Viator. I started in Sydney quite a while ago, and then obviously we got acquired by TripAdrisor about 4 or 5 years ago, and I've worked with them since. I've lived in the APAC region for more than half my life now, which is quite a while, as you can see by the color of my hair, and I've had a wonderful career in our industry. As you guys know, we work in a really fun industry, one that essentially is ensuring everybody has a great time on holiday, and doing that together is fun and exciting and rewarding. We're all very lucky. Personally, I've been very fortunate to travel widely. I've been to every continent except for South America and Antarctica. So I'm going to tick those off in November this year. Hopefully it won't be too wavy down there. And I'm going to do that with my family. But we've had a lot of holidays through the years all over the world, and we've always enjoyed having professional guides show us around. It's made a big difference to be able to lead us through the local culture, the food and the sights, and a lot better experience than just kind of wandering around aimlessly. We book all these tours through our site because we always want to have the experience of our own products. And most of the people, or a lot of the people in here, may have even taken my family on a tour through the years. We spend a lot of time in Asia here due to being in Australia. Just to talk a little bit about the industry, over my career, I've had the pleasure of seeing a lot of small tour operators become big tour operators. And there's one we're gonna talk about a bit later today. But you guys have achieved this through a lot of hard work, and these are things you guys, this is what you guys do every day. Creativity, outstanding quality, amazing teams, we all know that, and adapting quickly to market changes. And I think that's really critical. And what kind of market changes have you guys adapted to recently? Well, I searched yesterday on TripAdvisor for Instagram. Who likes Instagram here? Everybody Instagrammer? Yeah, all right, so we might have a little experiment here. So guess how many tours? There's 119 tours around the world that focus on Instagram. That's pretty bizarre, right? So just to prove that, is everybody looking up there? My mom's gonna be proud. All right. So there are 1 billion people out there on Instagram, and you guys have already solved a lot of their, made their dreams come true, we could say, by offering tours to satisfy that need. But I guess the one last thing I want to mention, and I met some people out there this morning who talked about how much success they've had on TripAdvisor and how it's helped their business. But I guess the one thing is, in order to grow your business quickly, you have to use more sales channels than maybe just local sales channels. And you're all here to learn about that today. A lot of you are experts in this already. So using sales channels that are effective is really critical. So it doesn't mean that you should use every sales channel possible. It doesn't mean you should list on every website and every person that bugs you, because to be honest, you'll spread your resources too thin. I really think it's critical that you guys focus on the websites that deliver. Hopefully we're one of them. I know there's others, but focusing on those websites and optimizing your experience and your products on those websites is really how you're going to get the fastest growth. So remember, focus, and hopefully today we can give you some tips. Travelers these days are demanding a lot more unique experiences. 15 or 20 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever, maybe you'd be following around people. I'm really proud that on the online we're able to offer channels that means we can create very unique niche experiences. You'd never be able to fill a tour, even 5 or 10 people daily for something like an Instagram tour 20 years ago. Even though Instagram didn't exist, so it's pretty obvious, but you get the point. So I guess these online channels have allowed us to deliver, and other online channel partners, enough volume that you guys can grow these niche products. And certainly has made travel a lot more exciting place to be. I'm very proud that Viator and TripAdrisor both have led the industry online, both with reviews on Trip and with experiences on Viator. And now we've come together, obviously, to offer the best place in the world to book tours and for people to research the travel. So successful tourism is really all about us and our guests immersing ourselves in local culture to create memories. And you know, I guess that's why I think that we're really lucky to be in this industry, because we're kind of the memory creating industry. So thanks again for participating today. I hope you guys all love the experience. We're so proud to have you all here. And I'd like to introduce Baidi. Miss Baidi Lee is our head of supply, APAC, and most of you will know her, and she knows pretty much everything there is to know about the industry and the region. So I'll hand it over to Baidi, and I'll be back very soon. Thank you very much.
Sawadee. Wow, what a crowd. I try not to get too emotional. So I trust I know most of you already, but in case you don't, my name is Baidi Lee. I oversee the TripAdrisor Experiences APAC supply team. It's my absolute privilege and pleasure to welcome all of you to come to our very first Asia Pacific Summit. And this summit is curated for all the key partners like you all. That many of you has taken days off and travel long distance to come here, which serves as a reminder to all of us just how important our work is. Something about myself. I joined this company called Viator, Jeff just mentioned, about 7.5 years ago, as their very first sales manager dedicated to grow the Asia supply. And I'm very confident I'm one of the, maybe a handful of sales managers just to do this job. And at that time, one of my first projects was to bring experiences from offline to online. And I was supposed to launch a city called Chengdu. I don't know if any of you guys have heard about this city. All the Chinese apart, you're not qualified to answer this question. Have you heard about Chengdu? Show of hands? Okay. For the guys who haven't heard about this city, Chengdu is a city in China, southwest China, which is very famous for pandas, hot food, and hot girls. At that time, selling tours activities online was a crazy idea, and I honestly didn't know how to start. So I turned to my friend back then, called Sam, who I previously worked in a travel company. And I was trying to sell Sam's idea. As you guys can see, I sold it to him quite successfully after 2 visits and very, very many long phone calls. So Sam finally gave me all this trust. They said, okay, I got it. I'm gonna send you this file and hello pictures later. You do something about it. I was very excited. I opened the file. This is the tour fact he sent me. Okay, what did he say? Half-day Chengdu Panda Breeding Center tour, $35 net rate. It was back then, it was not net rate now, okay? 7:30 a.m., depart from hotel, transfer guide and entrance fee. Okay, I got this. I spent 2 days trying to practice and turn that information sheet into this amazing product, which turned out to be our top seller of all time in Chengdu. What I'm trying to say here is, as you can imagine, there were a lot of manual work involved just to build out one product. As our partners grow and grow, it's impossible for us to scale the business without a robust platform. Throughout the course of years, we have done tremendous work cultivating this market, maturing our supplier community, providing suppliers our know-how so they can focus on perfecting their service and let us do the rest of the work. I feel very fortunate that I have been involved in this evolution of online travel in the experiences business. We have continued to invest heavily in technology, including our marketplace platform, our new supplier management center, our highly efficient, low-cost software Vulkan, and general supplier connectivity in order to remove the friction and empower businesses, big or small, like Sam's Store, to grow their business online and reach out to all the global travelers more efficiently. Due to the complexity of this experiences supply business, our product and engineering team work restlessly upgrading the systems and features enhancement so we can empower you to load more products, to get more insights, and of course, to get more bookings. So we really want to thank you all for your continued support, your genuine feedback, and your enormous patience and understanding to be on this journey with us. Jeff had mentioned we got acquired by TripAdrisor back to 2014. We're now part of the world's largest travel ecosystem with nearly 500 million monthly users. Our mission is to connect the right product to the right traveler at the right time. No matter where they're going, what they're looking for, and whenever they book. And empower them to tell the whole world about the memorable experience that your service has provided. I'm also very thrilled to say, in the past few years, we have gone from a US-focused company to now have a great exposure and increase in market team throughout APAC region to work closely with you guys all. I myself moved to Singapore from San Francisco a few months ago, along with my colleague Dan Penner from Sydney. I've also added new market teams in Sydney, Singapore, Tokyo, and Seoul, as well as supply support team in Manila to better service valuable partners like you all. So now I'd like to introduce my team who made all the way to Bangkok to meet you guys. So firstly, I'd like to introduce Mika Manihara. Is Mika here? Oh, she's too busy outside at the reception. She's one supporting all the key accounts in Japan, based in Tokyo. I'd like to introduce Joe Wen. Is Joe around? Also outside. See? I worked them very hard. Joe is our account manager for the Indo-China region, as many of you might know him already. We have Amar Puri, outside. Okay, Amar Puri in the back. So Amar Puri is the account manager for South Asia and Central Asia region, based in the Singapore office. We have Marco. Account manager for Southeast Asia, based in Singapore with me. I mentioned Dan Penner. Where is Dan Penner? Dan Penner is our region manager for Southeast Asia, Central Asia, and South Asia region. At the same time, he's helping me to manage the Japan team because we urgently need a region manager for Japan. So if you guys know anyone, please send a referral. Oh, thank you very much. We also have Vivian Wu. Vivian Wu is based in San Francisco, managing the Greater China region. I know you guys all love her so much. You even have a group dedicated for Vivian on WeChat, I heard. I'm not allowed to get in because they probably say something nice about me in the WeChat group. All right, I have two more important people that I want to mention the last. One is our legendary Michelle Basil. Michelle Basil. She has been with us for 11.5 years. She's one of the most senior person on the team, which has, initially she was hired to do the whole APAC region, just herself. Luckily, now we expanded the team. Now she has a focused team on the Australia PAC region, based in Sydney. And lastly, we have the newest member on the team, Jimmy Lian. Where's Jimmy Lian? Jimmy Lian in the back. Jimmy Lian has only been with us for 2 months, focusing on supply acquisition for the APAC region. However, he has been with the business for over 7 years. He moved from the hotel division to the experiences. You definitely made the right choice. All right. So you will have plenty of time to interact with my team later, especially in the regional breakout session in the afternoon. So feel free to say hi. All right. So Asia Pacific region is and will continue to be one of our biggest strategic focus for TripAdrisor Group over the coming years. It's so amazing to see all of you here today. So we have over 217 suppliers coming from 20 countries, representing over 190 companies. And you guys are top accounts, most valuable partners. This is the very first supply conference our TripAdrisor Experiences team has ever hosted. So we feel very fortunate to have you all here. Thank you for attending today. And today's conference, today's summit is all about you. And the content is 100% curated for you to help you to understand our business and our vision and the opportunity for us to work closer together. We have many business divisions, many teams here today, and many of speakers representing teams behind the scene to help you to grow your business. Please refer to the handout in your tote bag where we have today's agenda. And we do apologize, there's a small error on the regional breakout group assignment, which I will give you an update in the afternoon, so don't worry about it. We'll also advise you the correct rooms based on the color on your badge. So there's a color sticker on your badge, which will tell you which room to go to. I will tell you more about it later. Now, my team told me I need to make a couple announcements, unfortunately a few housekeeping items. So we will have a pleasant day. Firstly, we are using Slido today. Have anyone used Slido before in any conferences? Okay, right. So not many people, so I should talk a little bit more about Slido. Slido is a mobile web interface that will allow you to participate within our Q&A session. So you may choose to reveal your real name, your company name, or just stay anonymous. That said, I can ask you to focus on the screen for a minute. So we're going to have a couple of interactive polls. Okay? Has anyone got on the internet, key in slido.com with hashtag TADS2019? Then you will be in your room. All right. So just get familiarized with the app and trying to get a little bit engaged. All right. So the question we'll have today, good morning, what would you like to gain most out of today's event? All right, we're seeing market trends, consumer insights, 60%, keep them going. So I think you guys got a hang of it, okay? So really ensure you're engaged, ask questions along the way, and so you can get 100% from your participation today. All right. A couple more boring housekeeping items, guys. Has anyone not registered in this room? In case you haven't registered, during the coffee break, you can go out to the foyer. We have staff there to help you with registration. For the ones who have registered, which is most of you, please ensure you have collected a few items at the registration desk. The first one is the TripAdrisor Experiences tote bag, which has support swag and also our agenda. Don't forget our Vulcan rucksack. It has all the free stuff inside as well. We also have optimization handout, which you saw on the table. I don't know if any of you has forgotten to collect it. We have intentionally printed out optimization tips in most of the languages that you guys are using in this room. So if you haven't collected, please make sure you collect one. It's very important. It's a very important handout we'll be using throughout the day, especially in the breakout sessions later. Make sure you get that in coffee break. At the end of your breakout session at 5:30, before you leave the event, please inform our team member at the registration desk, because we need to verify your participation and we'll issue you the refund. And the first coffee break will be at 11 o'clock at foyer just outside. Lunch will be served at 1 o'clock. It's 1 hour lunch. And if you haven't collected any of the stuff I mentioned, please go do so. And the Wi-Fi, we have Wi-Fi provided complimentary with all the login details highlighted here. If you got issues connecting to Wi-Fi, you can go to any of the staff wearing the black t-shirt, like mine, and they will help you out. Last but not least, we encourage participation interaction with the speakers, with the teams. So with the speakers, if you have questions, please hold the question to the end. We have Q&A sessions. So you have other questions, feel free to find the staff and we're more than happy to help you out. Okay, without further ado, I think we should get the summit started. And thank you so much. Enjoy your day. On the job.
Okay, thank you, Bidey. All right, time to get started. Do we have the Slido results? Can we get those up? And we'll have a quick look at what people want to learn from today. Well, is that maybe not possible? We're just working through things. Magic is going to happen right now. Now. 1, 2, 3. Okay, maybe not. Well, I did see people voting on optimization and market insights. So we actually have a bit of an inside joke about optimization because we use the word so much that we kind of laugh about it. So maybe every time the word optimization is used, I don't know, you can clap or something. Maybe not, but anyway, we can think about that. So we're going to kick off today. The one thing you did want to learn about was market insights, and we have tons and tons and tons of market insights, and we have somebody very, very clever who's going to bring us lots of market insights this morning about the region. So Jane's going to kick off. Jane Lim, VP of Business Operations and Strategy for APAC, is going to kick off with a presentation to talk about the APAC market as a whole. And we're going to follow that up with 3 different country-specific drill downs. So after Jane speaks, there'll be an opportunity to get back onto Slido and ask her some questions, or raise your hand and ask questions if you don't want to use Slido. So that's pretty cool. We got 133 people already logged into Slido. Congratulations. It's a very clever group. And we can see insights is tied with optimization. Perfect. Oh, it's just pulled ahead. So perfect timing for Jane. Jane Lynn. Thanks, guys.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to be here today. We really appreciate it. It's fantastic to see such a crowd in the room, as well as such a diversity of suppliers with us today. I'll be talking about 3 things. First, how TripAdvisor has evolved over the years. 2, how we feel about the APAC opportunity. And lastly, the importance of experiences to the overall TripAdvisor business. TripAdvisor was founded 19 years ago with the mission to help travelers around the world plan and have the perfect trip. Today, we are the world's largest and most influential travel platform. In terms of scale, with 490 million average monthly visitors across the world from 49 different markets. In terms of verticals, and the numbers are there, 2.2 million accommodations, 1 million travel activities and experiences listings, and 200,000 of which are bookable, 4.9 million restaurant listings, 500 plus airlines, 70,000 over cruises. We also have unrivaled depth in user-generated content with 160 million candid traveler photos that a lot of people across the world come to us for, as well as 730 million reviews and opinions that we have garnered over the years. As mentioned, we are the pioneer in user-generated content for travel, and a study by Oxford Economics, I think last year or the year before, pegged our influence on global travel spend at 10% and rising. That basically, adds up to almost over half a trillion of global tourism spend. Ultimately, our influence on travel spend is grounded in users researching on our site. A consumer study, a general consumer study of travelers across the board, not just our users, show that 86% of travelers will not book accommodation without reading reviews first, and 89% of users will usually research on a destination's activities and restaurants before they travel. And I'm happy to say that TripAdvisor is the main source of information for travel research, more so than alternatives in terms of reviews on search engines or OTA sites. And we're not just, the most frequently used platform for research, we are also the most influential. Now, we don't stand still. We are a 19-year-old company and we keep evolving. And here are just some 3 ways that we have continued to evolve, in recent years. 1, we have evolved the media landscape to maintain our content leadership in travel. 2, we have extended our functionality to enable users to plan a trip holistically. And lastly, of course, as you guys are well aware of, we continue to expand our bookability across verticals. So just deep diving into some of these points. Late last year, we launched the new TripAdvisor. Basically, it's a new way that surfaces content on our site, content that we've always had, but it also extends the kind of content that can be made available. We've opened as a publishing platform to brands and influencers. We've created new ways to discover and share recommendations. And of course, it deepens our consumer engagement. So if you haven't seen it already, if you go to the TripAdvisor homepage right now, the travel feed is right there. Select the destination and you can readily see, a whole bunch of things that naturally come out without you having to type into a search bar to surface this content. 2, we also launched the trips function last year. What we've heard from consumers is that they do want a full view of their trip. It's not just going into a specific POI and reading facts about it. They do want a kind of an end-to-end view of what their trip looks like. And because of that, we launched the trips function, which allows users to very easily, as they scroll through different attractions, restaurants, hotels on our site, they can easily save it into a trip of their own, and then access that. Easily available as well as with a map interface. And then, of course, as mentioned, we have been expanding bookability across different verticals. Experiences bookable products, super high growth over the past 3 years. The Fork, which basically is our own in-house brand for booking restaurants, has also seen super high growth. And in terms of revenue contribution to the company, again, we've basically doubled over the past 2 years, from 11% of TripAdvisor revenues to 21% in Q1 this year. Right, so moving on to APAC. We all know APAC is the highest growing region in the world, right? So Skift just launched their global travel economics report, and just to pull some stats from there, by 2029, this region will host 53% of the world's population, and it will account for 41% of global GDP. And over the next 10 years, 54% of new traveler growth will come from this region. So I think it's fantastic that our first ever experiences summit for TripAdvisor is in this region. And then of course, in terms of online travel sales, that puts this region at about 1/3 of global contribution. Now, we are not new to APAC. TripAdvisor is not new to APAC. We've actually invested in this region over the past decade, starting in 2008, 2009, where we launched Japan, India, China, our key markets, and you'll be hearing more from our country managers in those markets in a bit. So today, TripAdvisor is available in 13 different countries in APAC and 8 different Asian languages. We continue to grow our APAC presence. That's super healthy, double-digit growth, a decade after we've launched, and we continue to invest in this region. As Heidi mentioned, we continue to scale up our headcount. Our share of travel traffic is also, we're at the top, if not top 3 in every single market we're in. How to read that chart basically means in Singapore, for all travel-related traffic, 32% lands on TripAdvisor. In India, that's 27%. In Japan, that's 19%. In a mobile-first region, we have continued to invest in this medium. All of us are holding a headphone after all. These stats are global. So today, globally, more than 60% of our traffic is on mobile. More than 50% of our hotel shoppers are, on mobile as well. And obviously, in this region, we index even more so in mobile. Of course, mobile brings with it immediacy, and we have leaned into the immediacy of this medium to update and improve our in-destination mobile use case with a much friendlier map search experience. And what this means is that our map entry point on mobile is a lot more visible. And when you click into the mobile view, our POIs across many different categories, again, whether it's accommodation, attractions, or restaurants, are much more visible and easily located. Now, I'm not sure whether this is a new fact, but 85% of APAC outbound is within the region. So we basically 85% of APAC travelers then account for 80% of inbound. And what this really means is that having local suppliers in APAC is extremely important to us achieving credibility as a company in this region, but also, building out a comprehensive service offering for our users to bring to life their travel experience. And I'm happy to say that we have, over the past decade, forged partnerships with many different local players in the region. Across accommodation, Make My Trip in India, Sea Trip in China, Rakuten in Japan, flights, attractions, of course, all of you in the room, and restaurants. And this really allows users, I think, to have a whole host of functionality that they wouldn't otherwise know of. Like, say a traveler coming in from Europe, how would you know that you can book a table, say, in Thailand through eAgo? It's through a platform like TripAdvisor. Content and content partnerships are key to our brand and value proposition. After all, the backbone of our brand is our user-generated content. These are some examples of who we provide our content to. So Guru Navi, that's a restaurants listing player in Japan. Naver, the dominant search engine in Korea. Qantas, the national carrier in Australia. These are just a few select examples, and there are many more of where you can find our content on. And as mentioned, we did launch the travel feed last year, and with it we have brought on board the leading publishers in each market. These include The Smart Local in Singapore, Weekend Hong Kong, Backpackers in Taiwan. For those of you in these markets, I'm sure these names are extremely familiar. Now, where it makes sense, we have also built products specific to the Asian consumer. So here we see top trip motivations for the Asian consumer. It's sightseeing, it's experiencing moments with their family, relaxing, eating, and shopping. So eating and shopping, I think are really important for Asians. That maybe it's a little bit, more weighted towards the Asian consumer versus the global consumer. And accordingly, we did launch a shopping vertical last year. And in cities and geos where it's available, you can see that shopping icon as one of the 6 icons we have on display. And we are actively right now onboarding malls and brands into our shopping pages. And of course, we have continued to expand the scope of Traveler's Choice Awards over the past years. I think 3 years ago, that's when we launched Traveler's Choice Awards for airlines. We launched it for experiences last year, and I'm happy to say that 7 out of the 25 top experiences came from this region. So moving on to experiences, as a key growth factor for our company, we're very excited to focus on experiences because, as Jeff has said, it's in the business of memory making. And if you look across our fastest growing product categories, it's exciting to see that these span anything from, a cultural tour to, yoga in some cliff on Bali, to, of course, the more mundane airport transfers. Interestingly, in APAC, we did a consumer survey to say, hey, what do you guys most associate TripAdvisor with? And actually, things to do came out super strongly at top. So across, I guess across the world, but more so within this region, users are coming to our site to find things to do. As a company, we are truly vested in this vertical. As Vaidi mentioned, in 2014, Viator became part of the TripAdvisor family. More recently, last year, we acquired Bokun to beef up our capabilities in the tech stack. And as our CEO has mentioned super recently, this year, if not late last year, we are doubling down on experiences. Coming back to the region, we do see that on us, our share of supplies and bookable supply from APAC has continued to grow, attesting again to the growth of this region. And we also see consumer demand for experiences outpacing general travel demand. So these stats here basically show it's TripAdvisor data. In 2014, user reviews on kind of experiences point of interest was at 19%, that has grown to almost a quarter today. And in terms of the traffic coming on our platform, in 2016, a quarter of our traffic that came to TripAdvisor platform basically landed on an experiences page, and last year, it's been a few years, that has grown to a third. Right, so just to end off, I will say, as TripAdvisor, we continue to invest in our user base by truly delivering an end-to-end experience throughout the travel journey. From researching and planning, to price comparison, to booking, and then now that focus on in-destination. And yep, we're ready to win in APAC by empowering you guys, our partners, to connect to our large and truly global traveler community. Thank you.
All right, that was fantastic. Thank you, Jane.
Thank you.
So we're going to open up to questions, and you can either use Slider, as we talked about before, or you're more than welcome to put up your hand. So we should have some questions popping up down here. We can have a look. So we can say, what is TripAdvisor's strategy, from Anonymous, what is TripAdvisor's strategy in the other emerging APAC markets that you did not cover? So I guess the ones, I assume the question means the markets that we haven't entered yet, is it? Let's go with that.
Okay, let's go with that. So to be honest, we are in 13 different markets in APAC right now. I do feel we have covered the key markets in terms of entering markets that we're not in right now. So examples would be we're not in Laos, we're not in Cambodia right now. To be perfectly honest, there are no immediate plans to open additional point of sales. But that's something we'll definitely consider as demand continues to grow.
Thank you. All right, next question. What is our competition in APAC? That's a good question. One of my favorites. And what are we doing about it, Jane?
Yeah, so, I'm sure you guys have been at this conference. I also attended a couple of sessions yesterday. Competition, of course, is fierce. But I will say that TripAdvisor, given our history in the travel space, we do have a unique, I think, proposition. We do play a unique role in the travel ecosystem. Again, we are the pioneer in user-generated content. And so I think one of the things we'll really focus on is continuing to be that destination where users do post content about travel, where users do research about travel on us, and they can find, basically we continue to be the best information source for them. And I think the other kind of main differentiator is that we do have a very, very strong community. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but among my friends, there's always going to be at least one guy that's a super avid TripAdvisor user that's always kind of contributing reviews on our platform. And I think that we're going to continue leaning, into our community in terms of building out our, strategic advantage.
Sounds great. All right. Another question here for Jane. Jumping around a bit. What's within the immediate future for TripAdvisor? I guess what are the immediate plans for TripAdvisor in APAC?
Well, like I mentioned, experiences is a big growth factor for us. It's a super critical part. I think that's why we're hosting the summit today, because we recognize that all of you really are going to contribute to the growth of our company. So I will leave it at that, and my colleagues and experiences team can elaborate on that throughout the day.
That's right. Well, I guess hiring a head of Japan is part of it, right? For experiences?
For experiences, yeah, that's right.
Experiences.
Hit counter growth.
There we go. Okay. All right, we've got 1 more minute, so we'll see if we can get through 1 or 2 more questions. So this is a long one from Anonymous. Nobody wants to share their name. That's interesting. Okay, with the fragmentation of tours and things to do on the TripAdvisor platform, how may new TripAdvisor, I assume, suppliers differentiate their experience listings against the other platforms? New experience, new experience, so is that, I'm not sure what that means. Sorry, I'm just trying to work it out. Let's go with new, sorry, I'm going to,
Why don't I take the growth strategy in other product categories?
all right, let's pick that one. So, what is TripAdvisor's growth strategy in the other product categories, such as restaurants and accommodations? That's a good question.
Yeah,
So,
because I have the answer to that.
you're the only one with the answer to that, so I'm glad they asked you, so that's good.
I will say for, restaurants, again, actually the restaurant space I would say is quite fragmented. In every market or in every region, there's always going to be kind of a top player in that region. And we've really taken on the kind of partnership approach within APAC. So on our platform, as you saw on the slide earlier, we do partner with Chope, Eatago, Deliveroo, and we will continue to basically onboard local market leaders in restaurants to our platform so that kind of travelers across the world can access their services. In accommodation, it is the same thing. Alternative accommodation, of course, is rising. There are, again, very strong local players by market that are onboarding these new sources of kind of supply. Of course, you've heard of Oyo. There's similar players that are playing. I think that they're surfacing these new forms of supply, and we are kind of there to say, hi, please be on our platform. We're very happy to partner with you.
Fantastic. Okay, we're out of time for Jane, but thank you very much, Jane, and everybody give her a round of applause. Jane will be around all day, so feel free to approach her with additional questions. As you can see, she's obviously the expert. So this is the point where we're going to go through 3 deep dives into Japan, China, and India. And then we're going to have a question period after all 3 of them present. So you're welcome to enter your questions into Slido during the presentations, and then I'll pop back up after all 3 of them have spoken, and we can answer some specific questions. And by the way, great job on the questions so far. We were concerned that maybe we wouldn't get too many questions, and you guys are champions. So kicking it off, our country manager from Japan, Tomeo Makino, please come on up and share some fantastic insights.
Thanks for the introduction. So hi everyone, thanks for joining the event today. So for this part, I'll be talking about the TripAdvisor Japan. And as all of you probably know, Japan is the second largest travel market in the APAC region behind China. And as a TripAdvisor, we've been investing in this market for quite a long time. So we opened up the office in 2008 and operating the business for more than 10 years. So Japan market, it's an interesting start from the Japan market is the majority of travel expenditure is domestic travel. So our focus on TripAdvisor Japan is capturing the domestic travel market. That's our strategy we have. So let me start from the explaining what we've done and where we are today for the domestic travel. So as you can imagine, so in the APAC region, so localization is really key to the success for the markets. So we have invested to make sure that provide the same experience, users have in the English market. So we make sure to provide not localization for the language, but also the functionality. So we have partnered with local OTA to make sure that they have the great coverage of the domestic hotel inventories. So not just having a global OTA. So that's something we have done for the hotel message first. And then we even made some changes to the product for the more specific to much to specific to the Japanese users, Japanese travelers. You see here some of the example, the having partnership with local restaurant booking, and also that supporting the most used messaging service called Line for the line login with line login, in addition to Facebook or Google sign up. And lastly, for the geo-directory search, it's quite common for the Japanese users to search by just clicking the name of geo, not typing. So we made this for, especially for the Japan users, by providing the geo-directory search. Not only the product, we also made some of the localization to the marketing too. We have built a great distribution network by partnering with local leading transportation companies such as Japan Railway, Japan Airlines, and ANA, and displaying our content on their hotel page so that the user can check our review or rating not leaving their site. So, and we are getting the brand exposure on their site and having a more broader reach for the branding. And this is not something we are doing only for online, but also having more of the local partnership to have the co-marketing. We have this kind of train or bus traffic for the branding. Also, we even created some of the paper travel guides for the offline marketing because it's Japan's uniqueness. One uniqueness is still the offline travel book guidebook is have a strong influence over the travelers. And here we are. So by doing this kind of effort in the market, we be steadily growth that the user base in Japan, and we actually are getting closer to the two leading local OTAs now. And in fact, TripAdvisor is now the #1 destination for the web search queries containing Sync Studio. So when users search with a keyword, for example, like Tokyo Sync Studio, we are actually the #1 destination site for the Japanese domestic travelers. So we became #1 in 2017 and kept that #1 position for 2018 too by having a more gap between the second position, which are here. And as Jen mentioned at the previous presentation, we have a strong association with the Sync Studio in the APAC region. That's same for the Japan market too. This data is the traffic ratio for each category on the TripAdvisor Japan. You see here, Sync Studio is the most popular category on TripAdvisor Japan. And this is where your product appears, as you know. So user come to TripAdvisor looking for the attraction and the experience. And here, let's quickly look at our users. So characteristic of Japanese TripAdvisor users are the high income and the popular among actually the overall the generation and frequent travelers. That's the characteristic of our our users in Japan. So one fact I'd like to mention here is that the passport ownership rate. So Japan's average rate of the passport is 23%, but surprisingly, our user has like 87% of the ownership passport. So the fact leads to the next topic of the international travel for the Japanese TripAdvisor users. So I talked a lot about focusing on the domestic travel and capturing domestic travelers, but that doesn't mean that we don't have any international travelers on our service. So of course, even in Japan, TripAdvisor is known as the global service and known as the service for the international travel too. So this is a chart showing the traffic ratio of the access to domestic POI versus international POI. So you see here like 18% seems a bit lower compared to the domestic, but considering the fact that travel expenditure for the international travel is only 11%, it's actually big. And this is the number we have, the survey we did last year. So TripAdvisor is actually also widely used by Japanese outbound travelers too. So we are ranked number 2 for the planning for the things to do when they travel international, and also that number 1 for the on-trip research. So we do have the users for the international travel. And which destination they are looking at is, this is a top destination they are looking. So out of top 10 market, well, 6 markets are actually in the APAC region. So for those of you who have the product for targeting the Japanese international travelers, TripAdvisor Japan is definitely a platform when you want to promote your product and sell. And the reason why I'm here today. And I also want to quickly touch on the inbound travel, because that's Japan's government current focus to grow the number. Sorry. And Japan government set the target for the inbound number of inbound travelers 40 million in 2020 and 60 million in 2030. And the number of inbound travelers to Japan have been rapidly growing, and it surpassed the 30 million last year for the first time. And we see the same trend on the usage on the TripAdvisor Japan. And average annual growth rate to the access to the Japan data is average 23% since 2013. And top market looking to the Japan data, it's like US, China, Australia, Hong Kong, Taiwan. So again, like 7 market of top market looking to Japan is coming from the APAC. So Japan is, as you probably all know, is one of the top destinations for the APAC travelers. And for this reason, we are actually seeing the growth of activity sales for the inbound travelers. This is a top 10 product we saw last year, popular among the inbound travelers. As you can imagine, like city tour is quite popular in Japan too, and like pub crawl, like cooking class is a popular category for the inbound travelers. And finally, talking about the experience. As mentioned, so Think Studio is the most popular category for the Japan market, and experience is our focus for Japan market too. And we have been busy for improving the product experience for both users and suppliers. We we support the JCB card, which is for the payment, which is most used popular credit card in Japan market. And then started translating product to the Japanese, and make them available to the Japanese travelers, not only in Japan but also like other overseas destination too, so that they can find the experience and buy the book them on TripAdvisor in Japanese. We also localize the suppliers page to make it easier for the Japanese domestic supplier to sign up and upload their product in Japanese. This is something we've done for 6 months. We are continuing to do this kind of improvement for the product and marketing in Japan. So TripAdvisor Japan has built its presence in Japan market, especially around things to do. And again, like we focus on the experience area, so that user can come to us for the buyer booking, book on the experience products. So good thing about TripAdvisor is, as I have explained, actual users for the domestic and international, and also of course like inbound travel. So you can utilize our platform is like one product, one stop for promoting your product. So hopefully the presentation will give you that idea of TripAdvisor Japan, and we look forward to working with you closely to build the success in Japan market. Thank you. Next, I have to introduce Bayer again. So Bayer will be back to the stage, and she'll be talking about China market.
Thank you, Vanessa. Hey guys, it's me again. You might be wondering how many jobs do I have. Actually, I'm just here to deliver this presentation on behalf of the country manager for China. His name is Eason Zhu. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it today. I'm the next best person to present. So bear with me. All right, TripAdvisor in China. As many of you have attended Arrival in the last couple of days, and you have heard how different Asia is. Well, let me tell you how different China is. It's another level. So, because China is so different, as TripAdvisor, we have actually localized our entire strategy for China. We have a local office in Beijing, Central Business District. Actually, this year we're going to celebrate our 10th anniversary. And we have a fully localized TripAdvisor because China is the only market TripAdvisor has a dedicated brand name, which is called Mao Tu Yi. So the Chinese suppliers are not qualified for this question, but can you guys guess what does Mao Tu Yi mean? Why did we choose this odd name? Anyone? Ideas? All right, maybe Chinese is a little difficult for most non-Chinese speakers to understand. So basically, Mao Tu Yi means Owlie on the road. Owlie is our little mascot, the owl. We have a truly localized mobile app. As you guys can see on the right-hand side, there's a side-by-side comparison of our mobile app interface. On the left-hand side is Mao Tu Yi app homepage. On the right-hand side is our TripAdvisor regular global app homepage. Where you can see on the top, there are actually a lot more icons included. So Jay has mentioned Chinese customers, Chinese travelers likes to eat and shop. So we have curated our shelf to meet their demand. So on the top, we have a couple icons like shopping, we have like landmarks and monuments, we have museums, we have restaurants. And we have curated content just for shopping, and as well as a downloadable guidebook. Lastly, we have a localized team, which is the largest country-specific subsidiary company. We have over 110 local staff based in Beijing. to devote themselves to grow this market. All right, hotels. Meta search is our bread and butter. And in China, we partner not only with the global hotel OTAs, but also local giants such as Ctrip and Elo. Restaurants is very interesting. You all know Chinese people like food, you like Chinese food. We have actually curated a lot of new products on our app to cater such demand. Give you some examples. Because we have rich data, we use machine learning to sift through all the reviews on the restaurant level and be able to come up with recommended dishes. We even created a customized shelf to facilitate its discovery for Chinese travelers when they travel overseas. You will be able to filter through the discovery shelf by the type of cuisine, the price range, and also the restaurant specialty. And we all know Chinese people will miss their hometown food. Actually, everybody. So we even created a shelf just for Chinese food. So if you're really homesick, you can go to that Chinese restaurant. Also, in terms of user reviews, we have super high quality localized reviews. Firstly, we have a very strict review submission criteria compared with our local competitors. At TripAdrisor China, we require at least 50 characters to submit a review, compared with our competitors, usually about 15 to 20 characters. As a matter of fact, over 30% of our reviews has over 160 characters, super high quality. So on the right-hand side is a right example. We also have a larger base of global reviews, and we believe Chinese travelers like to hear other perspectives from global travelers as well. One of the value proposition Jay has mentioned about TripAdvisor is we have a very passionate, loyal community. So in China, we have employed hundreds and thousands of volunteers to help us translate reviews from multiple languages into Chinese. So this is a customized dashboard for the Chinese volunteers, where they can take a job, translate a review, earn some points, and then they will get some incentives and gift cards where they can use for shopping or their next trip. By doing this, we actually have a lot more human translated high quality reviews. In the last couple of years, we have translated over 5 million reviews. As TripAdvisor, we're built on 3 key values. Number 1 is we believe everyone has a right to write. So we create a platform for our genuine user reviews. Secondly, we believe in transparency. We provide transparent information to the industry, and we use as a bridge between the suppliers and the businesses, as well as travelers. Lastly, is we have level playing field for businesses, big or small. You can all grow with us. Therefore, we're representing the industry standards across different types of businesses, and all of them are using TripAdvisor review. Such as attractions, this is one of the attractions in China, Shaolin Temple. Hotels, is a Marriott. Restaurant, one of the Japanese sushi restaurants. You see that there's a little QR code thing there. You can scan the QR code and you'll be able to order sushi, even if the menu is 100% Japanese. Outside shopping malls. Tourism board, this is welcome to Melbourne, I believe it's Visit Victoria. Transportation companies, the Ding Ding tramway in Hong Kong. And airlines, this is ad from Air New Zealand. So, who are our customers? Who are our travelers? How we differentiate ourselves from our competitors is we capture high-end Chinese FIT travelers. So the guys, I try not to use the term FIT, so freelance independent travelers. So 95% of them are taking a trip outbound, leaving China to somewhere outside China. 69% of them are young travelers, aging between 25 to 34 years old. They're highly educated. Nearly 95% of them have a bachelor's degree or even higher. And they're extremely wealthy. And you all know Chinese people can be quite wealthy. And we have over 70% of them having an income of nearly 30,000 RMB per month. We heard a lot about mobile. Jen can't emphasize enough how important mobile is in this region, especially for China. You see the graph here. In 2018, the share of mobile traffic on TripAdvisor China is nearly 90%. So this helps us to define our strategy to tackle the China market. Unlike a lot of other Chinese OTAs, where our users mainly use for pre-trip planning, for hotels and flight booking, our users rely on the TripAdvisor China app a lot in destination, especially when they're looking for attractions, things to do, and restaurant, as well as shopping. On average, the destination usage is about 32%, while we have super high peak travel period in China, such as Chinese New Year, Golden Week. Every Chinese person have a week off. So we're seeing a spike in destination app usage, over 50%. This is why I have mentioned, over 85% of users on TripAdvisor China app are researching for outbound destinations. Here's a snapshot of our top 20 destinations for TripAdvisor China users. The ones highlighted are the destinations within the APAC region. The ones not highlighted are outside APAC. 60% are in APAC. And all these top 20 destinations have represented over half of the traffic on our site. All right, knowing all this, what do we do about it? It's all about experiences, apparently. I have very exciting news to announce. In the near future, in a couple of weeks, we'll be launching the first top 10 cities with bookable experiences on TripAdvisor China, the multi-wing app. Namely from London, Tokyo, Kyoto, Barcelona, Paris, Singapore, Bangkok, Phuket, New York, and Hong Kong. This is just the beginning. Some of you, you might be a little disappointed not seeing a destination here. We're going to launch more in the future. Why we're not launching all of them? And guys, I mentioned we are focusing on high quality curated content, and we're not able to launch it all because we spend more time, effort, and investment in curating the high quality content for the Chinese customers. Our strategy, and this is very relevant to your business. If you're interested in this market, if you're curious about market, if you are ready to promote your products to the Chinese travelers, we care a lot more about product popularity. We use the traffic on the TripAdvisor site, the public survey, as well as competitor sites to decide on what product will be popular for Chinese travelers. Reviews and ratings. Chinese people like to read reviews. And they're very serious about only going for the top reviewed products. So on TripAdvisor, we only choose the 4 bubbles and above review product to be qualified for any human curation. What are the bucket list? What are the must-see to do attractions in outside China? So we want to get them covered. How unique your products are? Do you have a special access? Do you have anything exclusive? Anything limited experience? We want to get them considered to be included. And lastly, I think this is pretty obvious, the Chinese language service. You know, we all speak some level of English, but our English is not perfect. We don't want to make this as the barrier for Chinese travelers to travel overseas. So if you do consider welcoming Chinese guests, Chinese language service is a must. Whether it's the Chinese local guide, or is the audio guide or written guide, in any sort of form will work. This is a booking journey I like to show you on TripAdrisor China app with bookable experience to London Eye. There are many options. I'm seeing, oh, I love this express ticket. All right, skip the line, I love it, all inclusive, and there are different time slots. Okay, instant confirmation, e-ticket, and have the local language support. I love it. And okay, I decided to make a decision. I'm traveling tomorrow with myself. All right, I choose 10:15 option, or maybe 10:30. Okay, all right. Now I'm the stage of inputting the passenger information. My name is Han Mei Mei. And I'm putting booker name as well. So you put your first, last name, your email address, your phone number to help with communication. This is not my number, by the way. No comment. All right, so now it's going to the transaction page. And we want to address the sense of urgency, so you have 1 minute to complete your transaction. And we offer 2 most popular payment options, Alipay and WeChat Pay. Again, we care a lot about quality content. When we have commissioned a lot of influencers, bloggers, and professional writers to go and experience the destination as well as attraction. And they will be able to generate high quality, unique content to feed on our site. Because quality content will drive bookings, obviously. All right, one more thing, very unique and important to the China travel market is the usage of internet, the usage of mobile, and usage of WeChat. All right. I met a lot of Chinese suppliers today. They put me in some sort of group which is different from Vivian's group. But I want to know, outside the China group of suppliers, who else are on WeChat? With hands? Okay, maybe like 20 WeChat friends out there. So maybe it's worth a little bit explanation of what that is. WeChat, I mean, it's a little hard to explain because there's nothing really equivalent in the Western world. It's a super app. If you think about Google, you can't live without. WeChat is something Chinese people couldn't live without. Why? You see the number. Over 1.04 billion active users on a monthly basis. That is massive. Almost everyone in China uses WeChat. Whether you're a travel professional or you might be a fruit vendor on the street. They use it for communication, for social media, also for sourcing information, consumer content, as well as completing transaction. It's the entire giant ecosystem we're talking about. So to understand China, we can understand this. And WeChat Mini program is the super light program built within WeChat. Over 50% of WeChat users open Mini program 4 to 6 times a day, spending an average of 30 minutes per session. So if you look at the numbers on the right-hand side, every day, their active users are 280 million. Very powerful. So we want to be part of it. We need to be part of it. We have to be part of it. So we'll talk about how to empower your business using the product innovation with WeChat. We want to extend reach for Chinese travelers with China's fastest growing social media team, WeChat mini program. It's super light, less than 10 megabytes. You don't need to install. You don't need to download. You can just pin it and you can unpin it if you just done with it. So the usability is super easy. We use it for customer acquisition by leveraging the organic traffic as well as very engaging content. We use it to enhance the traveler's experience, whether they're pre in destination or post trip. We use their enriched content, so we create a more memorable experience and they will be able to share it within their WeChat circle. And also lastly, payment. We use it for to complete the transaction. All right, so this is an example of visually how it will look like within the WeChat system. So I type in the Louvre Museum in Paris. And Louvre Museum's official account got popped up because the official account always got pinned up to the top, followed by TripAdrisor's official account because we have the most relevant content on the internet within this WeChat system. So it will be we're helping you to search, discover, and share the content. On the right-hand side is our TripAdrisor China official account within WeChat, where we have over 1.6 million followers, where you can actually create more unique content to create engagement with your potential customers. What else can you do as a business? All right, I have an example of Universal Studios Singapore here in the middle, where you see all the bookable experiences. We have pass, we have day pass, we have e-ticket day pass, a lot of options. On the left-hand side is the user-generated content, aka reviews. So people sharing their genuine experience. On the right-hand side is the professionally generated reviews, which are the authentic content provided by our attractions, including the photos and videos and other sort of content. We also empower business through enhanced on-site experience. On the left-hand side, that's an interactive map we created for Universal Studios. So as a traveler, I have a limited time. I want to have the best experience. I don't want to miss out. So if I'm a big fan of the Minion, I'm also a big fan of Harry Potter. But you see on the map, it's from north, I need to go to the Minion, and then the south, I need to go to Harry Potter. So how can I really take advantage of my limited time and travel around the park and not missing out? So this interactive map will help you a lot. And there's many touch points you can create with the traveler within the mini program. Also, it saves a trip. You don't have to, bring your paper map anywhere. On the right-hand side is a museum. It's a Louvre Museum that I definitely don't want to miss out the most important art piece in the museum because, someone mentioned it created memorable experience and I want to share on my Instagram, WeChat circle. So I definitely want to see the goddess of love and beauty. So I can easily find it's in exhibition hall number 4 and I punch in the number. I can also listen to the history and the stories of this artist. Lastly is the payment. It's a pain point for many attractions. It's a pain point for us as OTA. But this WeChat program will be able to help us to remove the barriers to enter the market. So there's a quick flow of how it will look like gonna look at the product details, looking good, and then this cost me 295 yuan and 30 cents. I say confirm, I'm gonna pay it, and I'm gonna complete my order with one click. All right, it's done. With e-ticket stored in my WeChat wallet as well as my receipt. So you can always put up my e-ticket, skip the line, load e-ticket, and I can scan the barcode, a barcode to enter the museum. All right, so you heard a lot about it. If you're interested in growing the Chinese market with TripAdrisor, please email the team at mty.experience@tripadvisor.com. Or hold on your phone, you might have a scanner. Yes, scan that QR code. Or I'll record the email address for you. All right, thank you guys. And I'd like to welcome the country manager for India, Nico Ganchun.
Thanks, Spidey. It's good to be here at our first ever Experiences APAC Summit. I'm good to see faces from India, one of Asia's largest and fastest growing online travel markets. What I'm going to cover in my brief presentation is our presence and growth in India, why we think the India opportunity is so significant. I'm going to share some very useful consumer insights from a recent study that we just concluded specifically on the activity space in India. And then I'll conclude with some high-level remarks on the direction we're going to be taking for our experiences business. We launched about 10 years ago in India with the ambition of being the go-to platform for travel planning in India. And I think we've made some significant progress towards that goal. We are now consistently amongst the top 1 or 2 travel sites in the country in terms of traffic. And we enjoy high levels of brand awareness that are comparable to the levels of awareness we enjoy in our home market in the US. Given the fact that most of India's internet traffic is now on mobile, it also kind of reflects in our share of traffic on that platform, which is more than 70% right now. Currently in India, we deliver a highly local and optimized and mobile optimized experience across our verticals of hotels, experiences, and restaurants. We have deep content. We think we have the largest number of listings across these verticals, and we think we help the Indian traveler whether he's traveling to any remote part of the country. We have fresh photographs and fresh reviews for travelers that are traveling to remote parts of India as well. We're very excited about the growth of the content on our platform. We've grown clearly at a very fast pace in terms of reviews. And what we're more proud of is the fact that our reviews are seen as vastly more credible by Indian travelers, which has therefore led to the forging of many local partnerships across our verticals in hotels, restaurants, flights, DMOs, and others. We work with some of the leading travel brands in the country. We offer, all the major local OTAs, to our users. We partner with table booking services in the country. We also work with local tourist boards and help them entice, travelers to their destinations. And then we work with a bunch of, big brands in the travel space and help them kind of offer better content to their respective audiences. We're very focused on delivering the best value to the very price-conscious Indian consumer. Survey after survey, kind of tells us that Indian travelers are most focused on getting the best price from the platform that they are planning and booking on. And this is something that we kind of focus on across the categories that we service to our audience. So that's a bit about what we've been up to in India. Why do we think that the India opportunity is so significant? It's clear that in the numbers, India will be almost a $40 billion market in the next 5 years in terms of online travel. It's growing at very robust rates of about 9% over the next few years. But what's more exciting is that half of all this spend is going to be on in-destination, basically categories like food, shopping, tours, and stuff that people do in the destination. And that is growing at an even more faster pace than the overall online travel market in double digits over the next few years. We think that the opportunity largely lies in the domestic space. Clearly the numbers show that, both in terms of number of trips as well as the expenditure. The domestic opportunity vastly overshadows the international opportunity. There are a lot of Indians that are going to be going out in the next few years, but clearly the domestic opportunity is much more significant, and that's the one that we are clearly focused on. We think over the next few years, experiences will follow the trend that the hotels business took over the last few years. Clearly, hotels penetration was very, very poor a few years ago. It's gone up significantly over the last few years. And we think that the experiences business also will follow the same kind of trajectory that the hotels business followed in India, reaching double-digit penetration levels over the next few years. These numbers should be familiar with the Indians in the audience. We are clearly, big on the mobile opportunity. Over the next few years, we're going to have about 1 billion users in India that are going to be on smartphones. And then the other important trend to kind of note is the fact that almost 500 million Indian users will now be using and consuming content on the internet in Indian languages, non-English languages. Hindi will be the most important amongst them, and it's really growing at a very fast rate. But then 30% of non-English users will also be consuming content in languages like Marathi, Bengali, Tamil, and Telugu. So there's a big opportunity in the non-Indian space that we're closely kind of looking at as well. Not surprising, given the fact that there's so much traffic on the mobile. Mobile has become the predominant platform for booking across verticals of hotels and flights in India. It's obviously going to grow at the same strong pace over the next few years, reaching almost half of all the gross bookings that will take place in the country in the online travel space. This section should be useful for our partners out here. This is from a recently concluded study specifically on the activity space, and I'll share some findings here. How do Indians specifically book, plan and book their experiences, in-destination experiences? So some interesting insights, starting with the important fact that almost half of Indian travelers, or more than half of Indian travelers book experiences after they reach the destination. And then what's interesting is that almost 62% of travelers, and I'm talking about travelers who recently booked hotels and flights online, so it's slightly more skewed towards travelers who are online already. A high percentage of them booking experiences online, but mostly as part of holiday packages. So almost half of Indian travelers book experiences as part of some package. That's not surprising. But what's interesting is the fact that almost all travelers who booked experiences as part of packages made some modifications to that package. They did not book the itinerary that was being offered off the shelf. They made customizations. They picked and chose package experiences and included them as part of that itinerary. And they were willing to pay extra for making these customizations. Almost 70% of Indian travelers say that they will cover all the must-do experiences in the destination, and they are not price sensitive when it comes to spending on experiences. In fact, many travelers in the interviews that we conducted told us that they would be willing to, in fact, sacrifice on the accommodation, the kind of accommodation that they will stay in order to spend more on in-destination experiences. So clearly, the Indian travelers spend a lot of their time and a lot of their budget, on the in-destination component. Almost 40% of their time is spent in researching, things to do in the destination, which is actually more than the time they spend on researching accommodation and transportation. And almost 63% of travelers spend, between 25 and 50% of the entire holiday budget on in-destination activities. So a big opportunity out here. Experiences and things to do in destination are clearly big motivations for travelers, for just going out on the trip. In fact, exploring sites and attractions, is the top reason why Indian travelers travel in general. But more specifically, when we ask them about the recent significant trip that they took in the last 12 months, what's interesting is that many travelers indicated that they specifically took the trip in order to do an activity or in the destination. So that's very interesting that Indian travelers are now specifically traveling just to do in-destination activities. Reviews play an extremely important role in travel, in the decision-making process. Clearly, almost all travelers, are aware of the existence of traveler reviews specifically for attractions and experiences. But what's interesting is that, many travelers indicated that it's reviews and real traveler photos that basically influence them strongly in order to, when they decide to include a particular activity in their itinerary. Where are Indian travelers getting their motivations and ideas and inspiration, for things to do in destination? Clearly, online dominates here. More than half of travelers indicated that they get their influence and ideas, from online sources. And not surprisingly, the most important channels of information, even amongst the online sources, are the social media platforms, which are extremely popular in India. So Facebook pages, Instagram pages. Not surprisingly, WhatsApp group, Facebook communities, those are the big places where Indian travelers get ideas and inspiration for things to do in destination. This is where Indian travelers have been recently traveling to, or basically that these are the places that they intend to travel to. Not surprising when it comes to domestic destinations. There are a few non-typical destinations in the international list out there: Italy, Sri Lanka, Nepal, coming in the top 10 destinations. So it's good to see that Indian travelers are now basically looking at newer destinations to explore. Very interesting in terms of the activities that they do in destination. So, the usual suspects out there in terms of just the famous monuments, the big iconic attractions, the landscapes, those clearly dominate the things to do that Indians want to do when they're traveling. A lot of them clearly, include these activities and experiences as part of sightseeing tours. So that's a big opportunity out there. But what's also interesting is that there are categories like jungle safaris, outdoor activities, motorcycle tours, dining experiences, etc., where there's a big gap between travelers who indicated that they've done these activities, in their holidays in the past, and that they want to do these activities in the future. So those are clearly areas where there's a big gap, and we think could be great opportunities to explore for partners. I'll conclude with some very high-level remarks on the direction that we will take for the business. Given the fact that we enjoy these high levels of experience, awareness, in the category. In fact, from a study that we recently did, it came out that as a platform for standalone booking of activities, we are clearly up there in terms of awareness with some of the major names, with the well-recognized names in the travel space in the country. So we intend to leverage that brand awareness. We intend to leverage the high amounts of traffic that we now enjoy. Attractions clearly has become a big piece of our traffic in India, reaching about 42% of our traffic in India now. And we've enjoyed some fantastic growth in attractions traffic in the last couple of years. So we intend to leverage this great traffic growth. We intend to obviously use the great levels of awareness that we have in the space, and also build on these levels of brand awareness by by being and using the highly influential social media channels that I just spoke about. We intend to expand our local supplies, so and also based on the insights that I just spoke about, the categories that I just spoke about that Indians want to travel to, and add local price points. We just added Indian rupees as a payment option for our travelers, and we'll continue to add to that stack of currencies and payment options in the near future. And then we continue to aggressively, distribute all our activities and supply through partnerships with tour operators, because as I just said, a lot of Indians consume, buy experiences as part of packages. So that's the high-level direction that we intend to take in the business, and I'll conclude my presentation with that. Thank you.